All eyes are on the White House tonight, of course. Polls closed about an hour ago on the East Coast, and we are starting to see some early results.
Yes, let's take a look at those early results in the race for the president. He'd need 270 electoral votes to win right now. Former President Trump stands at 95, Vice President Kamala Harris at 35. Of course, we have a long way to go.
Yeah, we certainly do. Our political consultants, Kathy Abernathy with the Republican Party and Linda Fidler with the Democratic Party, joining us now in studio. Ladies, good evening to you. Good to have you.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a really tight race. Just yesterday, Vice President Harris and former President Trump were polling neck and neck. It has been that way for weeks now. Should we trust the polling results? These polls are all so close. Are they to be trusted, I guess? Let me start with you, Linda.
Well, I mean, that's hard to say. There's so much data that is going into it about the demographics, geography, all of it. So whether they vote early, whether they vote right at the last minute. But they've been wrong in the past. And sometimes I wonder how honest people are when they're actually taking those polls. I would kind of look to Iowa. That was a real outlier from all of them, where it shows Kamala in the lead. In Iowa.
A substantial lead or a very minuscule lead?
No, it was a substantial lead. I don't remember the exact numbers, but that is kind of bellwether. That's kind of Trump's canary dying, the first canary for Trump to die, because it's a canary in the coal mine. But also I like Dixville, New Hampshire. They have 6 voters. They're the ones that always vote at midnight. There was 4 Republicans and 2 declined to states, but the vote was 50-50.
Quickly,
Yeah,
Kathy, let me just ask you a quick response on, do you think the polls should be trusted? Is it as close as the polls say?
Well, I think the more interesting thing to me hasn't been the head-on-head, but the fact that the surveys of black voters is a lot different than in previous elections. The fact that technically, if Donald Trump can get more than 13% of the black vote in key states, and there's about 10 or 15 of those, there's no way for a Democrat to win. So, you know, that's interesting because we've seen that kind of movement even today. So we will, that will have a lot to do with the outcome. Of course, I'm real concerned about the U.S. Senate because that's, I think no president can be very effective if they don't have the
and
Senate.
I just heard actually a Republican did pick up a Senate seat.
Yes.
I just heard that right before we came on here.
Right, in
West Virginia.
West Virginia,
Yes.
that's...
All right,
that's
and
one.
Let me ask you, America, of course, on edge tonight about what might follow following this. Donald Trump has said he will challenge the results if he loses. Now, how do you think his base will respond if that happens? Should we worry at all about possibly violence erupting like it did on January 6th?
Well, I don't know what he challenged it based on if he has some place where he feels and others feel that there's a legitimate concern. I've gotten all kinds of calls today about crazy things that were going on, and I just told them we'll just go to the polling place and get a ballot. People said they didn't get their ballots ever. I don't know if I believe that, but maybe it was, somebody lost it a month ago. So again, I think the simplest solution would have been if everybody voted on one day except for those that can't make it to the polls. And I think a lot of these accusations wouldn't exist as much because we all would be under one system. Now it's kind of crazy. Where'd your ballot go? Somebody... I'd love to get back to that where we're on the same clock. I don't think it works to have 30 days of voting where for a challenger, that challenger has to look good on the first and the second and third, and that costs a lot of money when you're running against an incumbent. But guess who passed these laws to have 30 days of voting? The incumbents, because it's tough on a challenger. So I hope we get back to Election Day.
Well, polls also show a major gender gap among voters for Harris and Trump, with more women breaking for Harris. How have reproductive rights, the discussion over this, affected the vote, do you think? Let me start with you, Linda.
Yeah, back in July when we were at Luigi's, I said that was going to be the main issue, and it still is. It's majorly important for the voters, even if they are Republican or they tend to be, lean to the right. It's a very, very important issue because they're thinking about their children, their grandchildren, and it should be, they say there's the gender gap on this issue. It should be for males too. I mean, it takes 2 to tango. We all know that. They're going to be just as responsible for that child as the woman. So I think that might be the big surprise. I think that might be the big surprise.
Well, go ahead,
well,
Kathy.
I think, it's 2024 and women still are too ignorant to know how to take care of those kinds of things, like either don't have sex with somebody you don't want to have a kid with or take birth control pills that were invented 55 years ago. There's a lot of solutions besides debating abortion. I do not believe that most women in this country age 18 to 80, main concern in this nation is whether they can abort a baby.
Yeah, I wish they would make birth control free through health insurance. That would be.
Planned Parenthood gives it out free.
All right.
Well, that's true. But
ladies, we're fresh out of time,
Yes,
but we want to
thank you so
thank you as
much.
always coming in, Kathy Abernathy and Linda Fiddler,
Yeah.
and enjoy the rest of your evening.
all right,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Talk to
It's
the,
going to be a
see what
late night, I
happens.
think.
It will
after
be.
the election
Very
comes,
late.
right?
Thank
Okay.
you.
Particularly Kern.
Thank you.